Hey everybody, I am going to show you how to work Dimple stitch in the round. This is a stitch pattern that I posted in July of 2011, and someone was having problems converting this from flat to round. So I have now added the instructions for working the stitch in the round to the blog. I'm going to put a link for that in the description below the video here. I'm not going to go into any details about converting patterns for knitting in the round. There's a printout available on the blog for that if you're interested. There's a link at the top of theweeklystitch.com where you can get that information. And it doesn't matter if you work on DPNs like I have here or circular needles. This conversion will work for either way. And it's nice and seamless all the way around, as you can see. Most of these rounds are just plain knit stitches, so I'm not going to show you those. I'm going to show you the rows where we're slipping our stitches, and then the rows after that where we gather them. The first round is a plain knit row, and I've already gone ahead and done that, so I'm going to be starting here with round 2, and rounds 2, 3, and 4 are done exactly the same way. We're going to be slipping 3 stitches, and you want to slip them purlwise with the yarn held to the back. And then you're going to knit 3 all the way around. And it doesn't matter again if you're using DPNs or circulars. It's slip 3, knit 3. So I'm just slipping my first 3 stitches here. Let me get rid of my stitch marker. And then knit 3. Slip 3. And knit 3. And before I go any further, I just wanted to say that I found a crochet hook is really, really helpful when doing the rounds where the stitches are gathered. So I'll show you that when we get to that part of the pattern. So slip, 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 knit, knit, knit. And I think you get the idea on here, so I'm going to go away for a minute and finish round 2 and then do rounds 3 and 4. Rounds 5, 6, and 7 are plain knit stitches, so when I come back I will be on round 8 where we're going to be gathering our floats behind our slipped stitches. Okay, so here we are back at row 8, and it's time to gather our stitches. On the flat pattern for this stitch, we would be working on the wrong side of the fabric and putting our knitting needle up under these strands and knitting them and purling the rest of the stitches. When we're working in the round, we are going to have to just purl the stitch that we are using to gather these floats on the back here. I don't know if you can see. These are from when we slipped our 3 stitches. So there are these little strands, and we're going to gather those up, and that is what makes these little dimples or puckers in the fabric. So like I said, you might want to use a crochet hook. This was the only way that I found I could actually do this part of the pattern in the round. So you want to make sure that your yarn is in the front of your work, because we're going to be purling this stitch when we make our gathers. So I'm going to take my crochet hook and I'm just going to put it under those 3 strands. And then I'm just going to purl the stitch with my crochet hook. Oops, if I can get it here. I'm going to slide the stitch off my needle. And then I'm going to pull that stitch down under those strands. And let me just put this back on my needle here for a second. Okay, so that is how round 8 is worked. You're going to gather your stitches and then you're going to knit 5. And I'm going to show you the gather one more time, and I think you probably get the idea. I'm not going to finish the rest of this pattern. Like I said, the instructions are posted on the blog, and I'm going to put a link in the video description for you. I just wanted to show you this part is kind of tricky. Crochet hook under the strands, purl the next stitch. I'm going to slide it off my needle and then pull that stitch under those strands and put him right on my needle there. And so that's it. You would just continue working in that manner until you have a tube of dimple stitch as long as you want. I guess you could probably even make a hat with that. That would look kind of funky. But that is dimple stitch in the round.